listen. Start a record label, Miss Kiss just did it. Boom. 9 round, cover 5 minutes.
Muskegon's Director of Public Safety, Jeffrey Lewis, tells me Officer Charles Anderson has been placed on administrative leave. Chief Lewis confirms that action is directly related to a Facebook post.
I thought long and hard before I posted it.
A post made by Rob Mathis. In less than 24 hours, it's been shared more than 1,000 times and has resulted in more than 900 comments.
It was so disturbing to me.
Mathis says while touring a home for sale in northern Muskegon County, he and his wife Raina saw 2 Confederate flags, and on the dining room table
And the placemat was a Confederate flag.
then on a wall of a bedroom, this framed KKK application. It can be seen in a photo on the home's online listing too.
I said, oh my God, let's go. Let's get out of here right now.
Rob and Raina had already noticed Muskegon Police Department clothing, including what they believe was a department-issued jacket.
I was just angry, and my daughter started asking questions, and she's only 12.
To be clear, Mathis chose not to include the name of the Muskegon police officer in the post, even though he knew the officer's name, but included in the hundreds of comments, other Facebook users did identify Charles Anderson, and Muskegon County tax records show his name on public records. Officer Charles Anderson has been on the force in Muskegon since at least 2009. In 2009, Officer Anderson fatally shot Julius Johnson after Johnson ran from a traffic stop. In court, Officer Anderson testified Johnson wrestled away his radio and baton. Anderson told the jury Johnson beat him in the face with the objects. Then Muskegon County prosecutor Tony Tagg ruled the shooting was in self-defense. Anderson testified in court because Johnson's sister was charged and convicted on a charge of lying to police. Rob and Raina now know Officer Anderson's bosses have placed him on administrative leave.
A step in the right direction to find out what's going on with this individual.
Because if his intentions aren't good, he doesn't need to be a police officer. Because all minorities are in harm's way, if that's the case.
And Chief Lewis tells me an inquiry into the authenticity of that Facebook post has begun. He says it's the only way to determine if Officer Anderson violated any department or city employment policies. Until then, Officer Anderson will remain on administrative leave. In Muskegon, John Mills, 13 on your side.
We did try to reach Officer Anderson for comment. We were unable to do so. Those attempts to hear from him included a visit to his home. If he does reach out to us, we will be sure to include his reaction to the issue online and on air. Late today in a press release, Muskegon Police Department asked for patience as the issues are investigated. It goes on to say further information will be available upon completion.
The article starts off by saying a white police officer in Western Michigan was placed on paid administrative leave after a house hunter who was viewing the officer's home said he saw a framed Ku Klux Klan application and multiple Confederate flags. The Muskegon Police Department opened an internal investigation after Robert Mathis, who is black, posted a picture of the document on Facebook after touring Officer Charles Anderson's Houghton's area home, which was up for sale. I was just so disgusted, Mathis said to mlive.com. I told my son, let's go. We're getting out of here. This is a Klan house. Really, we have to go right now. It was basically telling me whites only to purchase this house. Anderson, who has been on the force for more than 20 years, no surprise there, was put on leave. Identifiably, city manager Frank Peterson said Thursday. Anderson told mlive.com he was advised not to comment amidst the investigation. His wife Rachel Anderson told Wood TV her husband isn't a Klan member. He can't say anything right now. I wish we could, because it would be probably set a lot of things straight. Rachel Anderson told the television station when a reporter came to the couple's door. The police department is doing its due diligence with the investigation. Chief Jeffrey Lewis told the newspaper. Lewis was not sure if an officer keeping such an item in his home would violate department policy. The emotional health and safety of the community is what is most important to me, Lewis said Friday, adding that the city and county are very serious about this. The Mustin Police Department policy and procedure order states that officers' decorum and behavior should not undercut public trust in the department. It also says officers shall perform all duties impartially, without favor or affection or ill will, or without regard to status, sex, race, religion, political belief, or aspiration, according to MLive.com. The newspaper reported that Anderson was cleared of fatally shooting a black man, Julius Johnson, age 23, following a traffic stop in 2009. Johnson was handcuffed with Anderson, who was beaten in the head. Anderson said he feared for his life, according to the findings of an investigation report created by then Mustin County Prosecutor Tony Tegu. Okay. So, I'm not sure why they showed that one on there. About the Galveston thing. This is clearly not an update, but I replayed the video for you anyway, just to show, if anything, that this is not a isolated incident. This is happening everywhere across the country. People of color are not lying when they say that they are being hunted down by the very same people who took an oath to serve and protect public servants. That's what police are. They are public servants, and many of my taxes has gone to their benefit as a taxpayer. They are public servants who feel as though that they are above the law, apparently. For this man to sell a home and have that, if you're selling a home, I understand that you have some things to put out, but if you really want to sell a home to anyone, you would not have that type of material sitting around. That's just like if a person smokes weed and they're selling their home, they wouldn't have weed paraphernalia or anything like that laying around because they want to sell the home to anyone. And that was basically, as the man reported, that was basically a silent statement saying, hey, I only want whites to own this home. This is some Klan shit. Yet the FBI refuses to put the Ku Klux Klan where they have the black extremists at. They refuse to put them on the high alert. They refuse to acknowledge the blatant racism that is coming out. And FYI, the patty rollers, slave catchers, aka patty rollers, aka law enforcement, aka police, aka pigs. That's their history, basically. The police were established to not necessarily police white people back in the day. Well, the slave catchers, they started off as slave catchers, so they were only, hunting down and catching slaves, which turned into the paddy rollers. I believe that's what they call them over in Europe. The paddy rollers, which it was the same function, but then it's like they widened it a little bit. To now we have the police. Where do you think that all these undercover bigots and racists, white nationalists, neo-Nazis, and all of them, where do you think that they went? They didn't disappear. They became police officers, lawyers, judges, lawmakers, sports team owners. They became all of these things. This is another reason why I don't pledge the allegiance, why I don't necessarily have a high opinion of law enforcement. This is why I don't watch rigged sports as like football, basketball, baseball. All of it's rigged and all of it's owned by racist ass white men. I'm sorry. The majority of it is owned by racist ass white men. Ask yourself, why is there no black owners? And other higher positions. Ask yourself, even on our Supreme Court, we got a boule. We got a token black one. We got a house nigga, even on the Supreme Court. You don't get that high up in their system unless you're willing to do what's needed for them. I would just say that. You don't become a high prosecuting person of color that has any say in how laws are made and things like that unless you're willing to do what they want you to do. Think about that for a moment. That's the side note, but back to the police officer. This is nothing new. Most of them are racist. Most of them are full of shit. Most of them were punks that grew up and was getting bullied in high school. And, they tried out and passed the fucking test to become a police officer. And they took it and they ran with it. There's a lot of bitches on that team. There's a lot of, they know they ain't like that. They know they don't have no real authority. So they'd rather shoot you than do the right thing. Do by the law what they're trained. Let's start off by just saying that police officers are not trained nearly as long as they should be. Anytime it takes longer for a beautician to get their license than it does for a cop to become a cop, something's wrong with that. That essentially means that a beautician is more qualified than all of the police officers that you have walking around in your city. Let that sizzle in your spirit. And I am Madam 81. Please drop down in the comments, like, subscribe, and share. And I will talk to you.